I'm Dan.
And I'm Sean.
And together, we're Intrepid Games.
And today, we're going to teach you how to play Lander.
Lander, your story begins here.
So before we get into the rules, we're just going to do a little unboxing. Please keep in mind, this isn't the finished prototype, so there are a few components missing. So the first thing you'll see are a couple stickers, come out like that. Then we've got a plastic insert that comes out. It contains the crew rosters, payment cards, setup booklets, and reference cards. Next, we've got a number of trays that come out. So we've got the resource tray, which has energy, titanium, and food. Then we've got the activity card tray, which has action cards, training cards, and item cards. Next, we have a tile tray, and in the final version, this will actually be split into 2 trays. Next, we've got the mission and accolade decks. Next, we have the event deck. And here, we've got the crew deck, which has the crew members in the game. We've got a plastic hexagon. We've got 4 bags of player pieces that match the corporation colors. And lastly, an egg timer.
One of the first things you'll need to do before you actually get to play a game of Lander is to stick the hexagon sticker on the hex. Next, we'll take the sectors and we'll take the sector resource stickers, and what you'll see is that there is a little bubble and the little black bubble, and you'll place the bubble in and the sticker will be placed like so. So now you can repeat this for all of the other sectors in the tile tray for the remaining 53 stickers.
In Lander, players assume the role of corporations, competing to expand their resource income. This can be achieved in 2 ways. Players can upgrade their existing sectors, or they can expand into new sectors and claim them with a new structure. Each corporation starts with 2 crew members. As you earn resources, you can acquire additional crew members from stasis and develop them with item cards and training cards. These give your crew members additional classes, traits, and other interesting options, all with the view of completing missions. To complete a mission, you must match the crew's class and traits to the criteria on the mission card. You must then pay the required resources to complete the mission. The player with the most mission stars is the winner.
Now that you've got an overview of Lander, we'll have a look at the board in more detail. You start a game of Lander by randomly drawing 18 sectors and fixing them in a ring around the central hex. These represent the dominant land use of either energy, food, or titanium around the crash site. What you'll see from the board is that all of these sectors have different sector values contained within them. And one of the strategic elements of the game is how you claim these different sectors. If we look at a 2-player game, we start off with 3 pieces per player, and we all work through. The first player claims 1 sector, the second player claims 2 sectors, the first player then claims 2 sectors, and then the second player will claim their third and final sector. This will enable you to start your resource base before we come on to the next phase of the game.
Now we're going to talk about the decks in a little more depth. Let's start with mission cards. As you can see, there are silver and gold missions in Lander. Silver missions give you 1 or 2 mission stars, while gold missions give you 3 or 4 stars. All missions have criteria that must be met and resources that must be paid in order to earn the stars. In Lander, there are 3 types of missions: construction, logistics, and research. Construction missions have no trait or class requirements, only special criteria that are met through sector development. Logistics missions have a mix of trait, class, and special criteria requirements. Research missions have only trait and class requirements, no special criteria. Now, it's important to note that for some missions, the criteria must be met across your entire crew, and for others, they must be met on a single crew member. Depending on the style of game, there may be public missions that all crews can compete for, or private missions that only you can see.
Okay, let's have a look at the stasis deck that contains our crew. Here we can see that the crew are divided into 3 classes: operations, science, and engineering staff. And each crew member can have a starting value of either 3, 4, or 5. Within Lander, there are 6 character traits. These can be broken down into fanatical, innovative, diplomatic, resilient, resourceful, and strategic, with each crew member having 2 that defines their personality. Each crew member has a unique leadership ability, which is only active when they're placed in your leader slot. These abilities can be passive, which would be only activated upon the use of another action, or they can be active and used once per year. And you can place a piece in this location to define that you've used that ability. Some key rules to note is that you cannot have less than 1 crew member, and that each crew member has 4 attachment slots. So when you attach different training and item cards, this would be filled like so.
Now let's talk about the training deck. As you can see, training cards allow you to increase the class level of your crew members or add additional personality traits. There are 2 types of training cards in the game. First, we've got single choice training cards, which allow you to increase your class level by 1, 2, 3, or 4 across the 3 classes. You also have double choice training cards, which include double traits as well as double classes, and you can choose which way to place each card on your crew. Finally, there's also a leadership card, which allows you to nominate a second crew member as a leader, which enables them to use their leadership ability and hold leader-only items.
Unlike training, which cannot be moved, the item deck contains a range of tools which can be moved throughout your different crew members, providing they meet the attachment criteria. Here you can see that this science card requires 2 science to attach. This science card requires 2 engineering to attach, and this science card requires 2 operations to attach. The classes contained within the item deck come with their relevant sets, covering all different configurations. You'll also see that there are extra storage items which enable you to carry resources between rounds and protect your hand. You can gain additional resources from item cards. You can enhance the class of either science, operations, or engineering, and you can protect sectors. You'll notice that all of the cards in front have the attachment criteria, with the little leader icon here showing that you can only attach it to your leader. The remaining 2 items are quite special. The protect crew item can go on any crew member and has no attachment criteria, and the extra slot enables you to carry 1 additional attachment per crew member, and it does not take up a slot.
Now we're going to talk about arguably one of the most interesting decks in the game, the action card deck. Action cards allow you to enhance your corporation's strategy by getting free upgrades, free expansions, extra resources, or free training and item cards, but it can also be used to pull back your opponents by modifying their classes, stealing their items, destroying their structures, or even killing their crew. Some action cards give you a choice. You can either benefit your crew by boosting your class level or negatively impacting your opponent's class level. Some action cards have a play anytime logo at the bottom here, which means you can play them literally anytime in the game, even when it's not your turn. Of course, there's also ways to stop your opponent's actions by blocking them or using a feedback card to feed back the action on your opponent. Now, it's important to note that in order to play an action card, your crew must meet the criteria on the left side of the card. These include classes and traits. Like mission cards, these requirements might be across your crew to play or on a single crew member.
Welcome to the event deck. When we say that your story begins here in Lander, we make this happen through the use of varying events that happen per year. Events are broken into 4 different categories. These can be planetary effects, which affect the resource development on the board. These can be construction events, which can change the payment values that you may pay for different upgrades or expansions. These could be crew events, which may be something like a mutiny, where crew are swapped around, or a workshop explosion, which may kill your crew member. The logistics events are quite positive, and these provide you with additional activity cards or enable you to move certain options around. When you draw an event, if it's a planetary event, this just happens. But for the majority of the events, they give you a choice, and you have to choose between one option or another, where you place your piece onto it to indicate your selection.
Finally, we come to the Accolade deck. Now, unlike missions, which are fixed once they've been achieved, accolades have the potential to be passed around between players and aren't officially earned until the game ends. As you can see, there are 3 classes of accolades. We have class accolades, mission accolades, and sector accolades, worth 1 or 2 stars. Accolades reward corporations for excelling in particular areas of colonization. For example, the Operations Honors accolade rewards a corporation that attains at least 10 operations among their crew. If you were to achieve that, you would place your player piece on the 10. You would hold this accolade until another corporation surpassed you in that area. If, for example, another corporation achieved 13 operations, you would remove the 10 and they would replace your piece with theirs. In a game, you'll play with 1 accolade from each of these sets. By having 3 accolades in each of these groups, we're able to enhance replayability.
So now that you've seen an overview of the game and what's inside the box, and you've seen some rules associated with some of the decks, you should be about ready to play.
You can check out our setup videos and gameplay tutorials on our website here.
Happy Lander!